Sell them what they want, give them what they need. Hey, I'm Donnie Bovine, the CEO and founder of Success Champions Networking and author of Endless Stream of Referrals. This is Growth Mode, a podcast centered around sales and business development so you can scale and grow your business. Hanging out with me as always is my buddy Kevin Snow, the sales and automation tactician and genius. Listen in or watch as we dive into why you should sell them what they want, then give them what they need. Well, I love this entire topic, man. I learned this back when I was doing sales training, and it was just crazy because on a regular basis, people would call in, companies would call us, and they were traditionally would call in and say, "Hey, can you do cold call training?" The answer was sure. Could you do, how to talk about price on a sales call training? Absolutely, we can do that. Could you, do how to do enterprise style sales training? Absolutely, we can do that. Can you teach closing classes? Absolutely. Didn't matter what they called in to request from us. We would always say, absolutely, we could do that. And the funny thing is we would sell a training to go into a company and to teach them whatever they wanted us to teach: cold calling, getting past gatekeepers, closing, financial tips, or the likes. But we never changed our presentation. We never changed our training, and we never changed our workshop, because what we knew was whatever they were looking for was never the issue that they actually had. They thought they needed cold call training, they thought they needed closing training or enterprise sales training and the likes. What they really needed was a way to unfuck the mindset of their salespeople. Because 9 times out of 10, if a person's been in sales for any given amount of time, they understand what sales is. They just need to figure out how to get out of their own damn way and go bigger with it. So what we learned to do was always sell what they are looking for and then give them what they really need. And it's not a bait and switch. It's you're still in that training. We'd still teach cold call tips and tactics. We would just still spend more time on mindset and the likes. What are your thoughts, Kevin?
So I think we need to be careful about how we present this, because that works really well for sales training, where you can give them what they need, but then add a bunch of other stuff on, or give them what they want, the cold call training, but then add a bunch of other stuff on and do the training. It's a little bit different, though. It's in a lot of industries, where there's actual physical product.
True, very true.
So, and the first thing that pops into my head, and you sold this, was HVAC. They need air conditioning, so you sell them an air conditioner. What they really needed was to get their ducts fixed. So I see a lot of applications for the sales coaching for what I do and what I sell them.
Let's talk a little bit about HVAC in that instance. Typically for heating and air conditioning, nobody calls a heating and air conditioning company unless something's gone wrong, right? Nobody ever does preventative maintenance, right? So even in that game, they're calling up because their heater's out or their air conditioner's out. And when you walk through the door, they have an expectation that they need it fixed. Right. So you go through, you diagnose, you figure out what's actually wrong with the system. And then you give them absolute options of what could be done. And, depending on the age of that unit, because air conditioning units can last for fucking 20 years in some cases. So depending on where the age of that unit is, you can 100% walk them through scenarios that says, hey, we can fix this component in a few years. Maybe next year, you're going to have to fix this and then this and then this. And you can completely baby this thing along, and that may be absolutely what they need. Or you can look at them and say, you currently have a 14, 16 SEER system. And if you did this, then, you kicked it up to a 20, 22 SEER system, a bigger system, you would save in the long run. It would just cost you more now. So sometimes it's merely just an educational side of things of, hey, I need to replace a compressor. I need to replace, some sort of component. And then you upsell them to what they actually need to get the longevity of that product.
So I think what you're really saying is that you need to sell the effect.
Yes.
Here's what you're going to get. And then provide them, and not so much selling them, you need these specific items. Here's what we're going to do for you. You're going to have air conditioning. And your system's going to last for another 10 years when we're done. As opposed to selling the product or the specific services you're going to do.
Yeah, absolutely. People, they want either something fun or something fixed, right? Most times, right? Or they want a process or whatever your service or product does. They want a solution. And if you sell the effect or the outcome of said product or solution, you'll make it a hell of a lot easier sale versus focusing on the benefits of said product or service.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm totally on board with that, and that's really how I've always ended up selling the bulk of my services that I've sold over the years was, finding what the impact was going to be for them and what that was going to facilitate them being able to do, and selling that outcome. And once they're on that, it's like, all right, so here's how we do it. Here's what we need, and making sure we got them the right stuff. So I think that's really the key.
Yeah, I agree because we go back to how we both started in sales with our pitch decks and our presentations.
Yep.
We would go in, crack people over the head with, let me tell you how awesome we are. Let me tell you how great this thing or service is. And we
look
really
at all these bells and whistles.
Exactly. And you make it all about you and the company versus flipping the script and making it all about the customer. So how does somebody figure out the benefit or the effect of whatever their product and service does? When you think about, and we can even stay in the HVAC realm, how would you flip that to, the effect or benefit they would get from that particular service?
Well, it goes back to asking better questions, and we've said this, I think, in like the last 5 episodes now. People need to ask more questions and listen better, so that they're understanding what their prospects are actually telling them and what's going through their head. You can't just take the face value. We were in a coaching session, mastermind, the other day, and I kept beating one of our members over the head with the question, why?
Yeah.
And just kept asking why. And to the point where she was completely stumped and she didn't know really she didn't understand what why was. And I think it's kind of the same thing with your prospects. You need to ask them those questions that get them to think about why they want stuff done, what it allows them to do. And HVAC is going to be much more Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I need a cool place to work, as opposed to, the higher level needs on Maslow's chart. But for a lot of people, especially if we're selling sales coaching, there's going to be some underlying benefit that providing this training to the sales team is going to allow the business to do. And, there's something, hey, if we're able to increase our sales 10%, that allows us to do this. Sweet. Why is that important? Now you have what you're trying to sell.
Yeah, well said. Well said. I think, you have to figure out not what they're buying, but what's the result of what they're buying. What will they accomplish? Will they save money? Will they make more money? Will they, have a cooler home or a warmer home? will they, what is the result of whatever you sell, and start selling that. And find out specifically is if that's what they're looking for, and you can have some more fun and realistic conversations.
Yeah, and and that questioning and getting that type of information, having those conversations takes you from a vendor, which is selling a product and a specific item, to an actual partner where you're now trying to help them achieve something with that business or in their personal life, or depending on what you sell. And that's going to set you up for the longer term relationship and more revenue down the road.
For sure. And I think, more people would find success in sales if they became that trusted advisor versus the person that only comes in and does the bells and whistles, because the person talking about the bells and whistles, the features and benefit, bring no value to a person who probably knows as much about your product as you do. Right. So
Yep.
you've got to come from it from a consultative side of things, no matter what you sell. So I think the bottom line for this episode, guys, is to sell them what they want and then give them what they need. Focus on the outcome. Focus on the effect. Focus specifically on what they get after they purchase. Where are they going? What problems will it solve? And the likes, and you're going to find a hell of a lot more sex, a hell of a lot more sex, a hell of a lot more success in the sales process. So, guys, as always, if you got any tips, tricks, values out of this episode, do us a favor and make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, leave us a comment of what your takeaways were, and tell one person. Can you think of one person that this would benefit from, or who would find value in this, our whole podcast and show? Be awesome. Love you, mean it. See you. Bye.